Hey, welcome to Anthonix Maximus Reviews. It's a real pleasure to have you, and we have our friends here, Dr. Cinema.
Let's hurry this up. If I miss Elon Musk's Christmas party, he may do something drastic like cry or run another social media platform into the ground.
And look who came to visit, my twin brother.
Hi, I'm Addison Van Drake. You're welcome. And Merry Christmas to you all. Oh my gosh, Tony, do you remember last time I was there? I hog-tied you to the bed for the whole summer while I took over your YouTube channel. Oh, the year 2020 was fun. We had fun.
Always a pleasure, Addison. And that's not all. We got my buddy, Vincent.
Hey, Anthonix. Just wanted to stop by on your last review of the year.
And my other friend, Nicholas Tess.
Hello, Anthonix. Happy Family Gifting Guilt Day.
Say hi to our friends at home.
And hello, Anthonix people.
I call them Anthonix Maxiteers.
I'm not calling them that.
Fine.
Hey, Nicholas Tess.
Why, I call my followers scum. Don't threaten me with a good time.
So, Nicholas Tess, how are you spending the holiday?
I'm currently spending Christmas here in Wyoming, investigating Jeffree Star's Yak Ranch.
Jeffree Star, the makeup guy.
The Jeffree Star? The makeup banshee? He's my bestie.
Are you serious right now? Jeffree Star has a yak ranch.
What do you think his makeup is made of?
Hi, I'm Anthonix Maximus, bitching to you about movies because me holding this sword makes me feel like I have some kind of power. Well, Anthonix Maxiteers, it's Christmas Eve, take my word for it, and we're still expecting Santa. And look, I got cards. My aunt sent me a card. And look, I got a card from the good people of Astound Broadband. You know, a lot of our Christmases, Vincent was in a coma.
No thanks to Dr. Cinema.
Very. Look at you.
It's Vincent.
You are up and about and doing something with your life and finally contributing to society. Good for you.
Okay, you two, that's enough now. Alright, we have a lot to cover for this review.
E-Man and She-Ra, a Christmas special. A special spun off from a TV show, spun off from a Filmation cartoon. That show lasted from 1983 till 1985, and it had 130 episodes.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to review. How did you know?
I was born with this ability called sight. In your background, you have Masters of the Universe displayed. You would only do that because you are about to discuss them. Since you've already reviewed the live-action movie, and it's Christmas, it's only natural you would review their Christmas special. Being a man-child makes you pretty predictable.
Yeah?
Okay, alright, you know what? Settle down. Masters of the Universe was one of my very, very, very early childhood memories, okay? It's very important to me, it's very near and dear. I loved the cartoon because it would play in constant syndication. Interesting fact, He-Man turns 40. Yeah, 40. I don't know, I guess He-Man holds a bit of a significance for me because, well, I remember when we first moved out to the East Coast, my 5th birthday, my mom actually somehow came across a seller that sold off all their Masters of the Universe toys. And it was a huge amount, like all the figures, Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, all for $25. Yeah, they were opened and used, but I was a kid. I didn't care. In fact, I wouldn't care now. And then Mattel released Masters of the Universe Origins. And I really liked the concept here because made it look like something that parents can introduce their kids to. I mean, doesn't that look fun? I mean, nobody could stand me long enough for me to actually have kids, but that's nice. The figures were supposed to be a one-off thing. I didn't mean for it to go too far. They were really cheap. And during 2020, us grown-ass geeks, we couldn't go anywhere. So what do you do with that much time and money? You just buy crap online. I admit I kind of got a little carried away. I think Castle Grayskull was my breaking point. But you know what? I'm a geek for nostalgia. So why the hell not?
Oh, Tony.
All right. Here's the thing about Masters of the Universe. There's so much backstory, and I do tend to get carried away with over-explaining, so I don't want to do that to you. At the same time, I felt like when I reviewed Masters of the Universe, the live-action movie, years ago, that was my second movie review, you know, I felt like I was just rushing through it, and I didn't give enough backstory to anything.
Look at that 480p quality of yours.
And now I feel like if I did it today, I'd be over-explaining. But I kind of have to give some history, so let me just power through this. In 1981, the people of Mattel were trying to figure out what to do with their next toy line. So they decided to look no further than to recycle the toy concept of Big Jim.
Big Jim Slade.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe was inspired by the Big Jim toy line, hence why He-Man has a battle cat, just like Big Jim. And these action figures were accompanied by mini comics. Why? Because Masters of the Universe was a new concept for everyone. No one knew who these characters were, so they had to include mini comics to give a backstory. And I told you before that the reason why Kenner made their Star Wars figures 3.75 inches is so that the smaller they were, the more you can collect easily without having to worry about space. Well, Mattel's approach was, let's go in a whole different direction, make them 5.5-inch figures. And for some reason, they all are bow-legged. Masters of the Universe, pretty much sword and sorcery mixed with sci-fi technology. The mini-comics were written by Don Gluck and illustrated by Alfred P. Alcala. I actually have some examples of the mini-comics that used to come with the action figures, because they did the same concept with the new ones. The story is different from the cartoon. You see, in the comics, the story of He-Man is that in a post-war torn Eternia that had been attacked by Skeletor, a demon from another dimension, He-Man is a wandering barbarian. He wanders and he comes across a cave where he meets the goddess. Now, the thing about the goddess is if you look at her, she kind of looks familiar, right? Yeah, she looks like Teela. I'll get to that in a bit. But what happens in this story is instead of the sorceress giving He-Man his powers, it's the goddess that gives him his powers. It's not Castle Grayskull, it was in a cave. His weapons were actually an axe and his harness, which was actually used, unlike the cartoon, a shield of invincibility, which in other media, the harness is just more aesthetic.
Not to mention, that harness would make him very popular on 28th Street at the Eagle.
Stop it. The power sword actually was meant to break into two parts. That's why the original figures had a flat side to each side. That's why He-Man had a sword and Skeletor had a sword, because they were meant to be put together. And if you put them together, you have access to Castle Grayskull, and if you rule Castle Grayskull, you rule the universe. Now, what I was getting at with the goddess and Teela, the funny thing is with the toy line, you see Teela wearing the same snake guard shield thing as the goddess would, right? Well, that's because Mattel had this mindset that boys don't want to buy a bunch of girl figures. So what they did as a compromise is just give Teela the goddess's armor, and that way if you feel like you want He-Man to interact with Goddess instead of Teela, you just snap the outfit on and call her Goddess. That figure was actually 2 figures in one. Boys play with female figures. You don't want those boys to end up loving other boys as they play with barbarians that are shirtless and run around in furry underwear. No 1980s implications whatsoever. So anytime He-Man was in a bind, he'd just call upon the other masters of the universe, like Ram-Man and Fisto. Moving on. Okay, I'm joking, but the thing about the cartoon series is that Filmation, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they had in their hands, and they just kind of went with it. They knew there was going to be some implications, and they kind of played with that. The reason the cartoon was able to be made, despite the many times I've told you that most of the time a cartoon is not allowed to be made if it's based on a toy, because it'd just be like a commercial. Their way around it was to say the cartoon is loosely based on the mini comics. Then they would eventually change the backstory of Masters of the Universe. So instead of He-Man being a wandering barbarian, he's actually a prince that is given a power sword, and he holds up to the sky, proclaims, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. He becomes He-Man. They kind of altered the backstory of Skeletor as well. Some variations. He comes from a different dimension where his race is a bunch of blue-skinned people with skulls. But my favorite take of Skeletor, which sticks mostly with all the other iterations, is that Skeletor is He-Man's uncle. Yes, Skeletor's brother is King Randor, He-Man's father, in the same way that Thor and Loki are brothers. Pretty much the same backstory as well. Randor's father found Skeletor on his planet. He was just a blue-skinned alien named Keldor, and Randor's father, the king, actually adopted Keldor, except for when it came time for a new ruler, it should have been Keldor to rule Eternia. But the people of Eternia were kind of racist, and they didn't want some blue-skinned being to rule over them. Never mind that Eternia has different races, they just didn't want people of Skeletor's race to rule over them. That's why Randor became king. But you're not going to get that from the cartoon show, no. Because once again, back then, writers were instructed to write good guys good, bad guys bad, without any explanation to it. Created for Filmation, as Nicholas Tess said, it was released September of 1983 and ended November of 1985. 65 episodes each season, leading to 130 episodes. They wrote that many back then because they really were slave driving, but they were all trying to get into syndication. Writers of the show includes Paul Dini, as we know from Batman, the animated series, and the Masters of the Universe theme song, or actually retitled He-Man and the Masters of the Universe theme song.
And the Masters of the Universe.
It was actually composed by Shuki Levy and Haim Saban. Well, if it isn't our old friend Haim Saban. We keep bumping into each other like this, don't we? That's what you get for loving Power Rangers. And now we get to the part where we introduce He-Man's twin sister, She-Ra. Her series made its debut in 1985, lasted to 1987. Her debut was in the theatrical animated movie He-Man and She-Ra, The Secret of the Sword. Basically, that story, real quick, is that when He-Man and She-Ra were babies, they were separated at birth because Skeletor and Hordak kidnapped Adora. Skeletor was caught, but Hordak managed to capture her, brainwash her, raise her to be a soldier, but He-Man came along and fixed all that. Now, the messed up thing about She-Ra nowadays is that technically she's in the hands of the people at the Barbie department in Mattel. So beyond the 80s cartoon, anything that you see that She-Ra is handled by the same people who handle Barbie. And there are rules with that. So if you find a He-Man toy line, yeah, yeah, you'll get She-Ra, you'll get some of the characters in there because it's the toy line, but when it comes to media, especially TV shows, you'll get a remake of Princess of Power, but it'll have nothing to do with He-Man. And just like in the 2000X series, you don't see She-Ra because the people Barbie won't share She-Ra. However, the He-Man series and the She-Ra series ongoing, they can use the evil Horde, led by Hordak. The people of Motu, Masters of the Universe, are allowed to use Hordak and the evil Horde in their toy line and their cartoons because they were introduced as He-Man's enemies in the toy line before She-Ra came along. But I really hope they lighten up on that because I would love to see She-Ra fighting alongside her brother in Masters of the Universe Revelation, or whatever it is Kevin Smith wants to call it now. So let's say we discuss toys, comics, the cartoons. Let's just now discuss this special. It aired December 25th, Christmas Day in 1985. It did get a VHS release, but it didn't see a DVD release until 2005. And now you can get it for free on YouTube. Alright, so I think we just explained all we needed to explain in this. We're just gonna now focus on the cartoon.
This will be the first time the twins are together to celebrate their birthday with all our family. Adora's friends even came from far-off Etheria.
Yes, Marlena, I know, we've been saying it. And there's Adora with her dead, cold eyes.
You know, it reminds me of how we used to get ready for Christmas at this time of year.
Christmas? What's that? An Earth holiday?
Oh yeah, never mind that there are other holidays on Earth. Let's just focus on your Christian beliefs. Damn you, Queen Marlena. Yeah, so the thing about Queen Marlena, by the way, is she's actually from Earth. She was an astronaut. She landed on Eternia where she met Randor, and they fell in love and got married. That's why the live-action canon film made sense for them to go to Earth. Not just because budgetary reasons, but because technically He-Man is actually half Earthling. And here's Prince Adam and Man-at-Arms working on a new invention. What can go wrong? Orko! Yes, Orko, invented for the cartoon. He is from a different dimension. He's kind of like the court jester, and he knows magic. He often gets into trouble. I would say I'm annoyed by him, but I'm really not. I'm more annoyed by Snarf.
All systems on.
What happened?
Alright, sure. Orko should have gone in there, but if a rocket can turn on just because a handle broke, I think that's kind of the designer's fault.
Get that ship before it escapes, or I'll put both your heads in orbit!
Oh no, and now Skeletor is aware of this ship, and he's following it in his own ship. We're not going to see Snake Mountain, are we? Alright, do you notice something about the machinery here? A lot of the designs are actually inspired by Jack Kirby. Yes, the Jack Kirby. And I say that because Jack Kirby has a thing for technology, but also kind of keeping it looking a little medieval-like. A lot of the inspiration of the He-Man characters comes from the New Gods. And just like Skeletor's ship, that's something you would imagine you can find on Darkseid's planet Apocalypse.
By the power of Grayskull!
Yeah, go get him, He-Man. The only people who know Prince Adam is He-Man are Man-at-Arms, Battle-Cat, and Orko. Prince Adam becomes He-Man. It's supposed to be sort of like a Shazam thing. Young boy turns into a grown, muscular man, but because, you know, Filmation is cheap and they're trying to save money, they had to use the same body model for Prince Adam and He-Man. Sort of more closer to Clark Kent and Superman. Enjoy this view of Castle Grayskull because that's the only time we're going to see it in this special.
I've got a feeling my brother may need some help.
And of course, Adora knows that her brother is He-Man. Someone had to give Adora her own sword.
You're trying to grab more than you can handle.
Okay, right. If we're already talking about implications, all you gotta do is think about all the puns that He-Man's gonna say.
These claws need a manicure.
Oh, and here's She-Ra with Swift Wind.
Let's get a little fresh air in here.
Ready? 1, 2...
Oh, thank God. The way it was animated, I thought He-Man was about to punch She-Ra. And out of frustration, Skeletor sends his D-list henchmen out into the sky, where they belong. Come on, I put up the good henchmen. They better show up in the special. And because of Orko trying to use his magic, he's been brought into space, with He-Man and She-Ra following him and somehow breathing in space. You know what, this cartoon just... you do what you want to do, cartoon. It's your world, I just watch it.
I never should have gotten into this thing.
Oh, I don't know why you're talking to us.
I can't understand how the ship just took off by itself.
Oh, you still haven't figured out that it's Orko. And you know, in all fairness, Skeletor attacking what you think is an empty ship, if it was in his airspace, then he was in the right. Oh no, Orko is on another planet, and there are 2 kids about to be avalanched on. Well, that's their fault. They shouldn't be getting the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve anyways. That's just God's way of sorting them out.
What's happening to us? A Christmas tree. Until we got lost.
What is that voice? A Christmas tree. A Christmas tree.
Uh-oh, he must have stowed away on the Sky Spy.
Uh-oh.
Everybody knows what Christmas is, a time when everybody thinks about peace and goodwill toward men.
But not towards women. Isn't that right, Filmation?
Listen, if you really don't know about Christmas, we'll tell you the whole story.
Listen, you son of a bitch. If you don't know what Christmas is, you heathen scumbag, we'll tell you.
A long, long time ago.
I've got it.
And they cut away before they discussed Jesus. Playing it safe?
Orko's landed on Earth.
My transport beam might do it. The problem is it needs a Carium water crystal.
Ah, it's a side quest adventure.
And the 3 wise men followed the star until they finally reached Bethlehem.
And what did they find in Bethlehem? You better tell me, you atheist.
Let's tell them about Santa Claus.
No, thank you. Kirk Cameron already told us about Santa Claus.
For the honor of Grayskull.
Oh, she gets a fancy-looking transition.
I am She-Ra.
Oh, God! Yeah, what you've done to me, the wings are sticking on my vertebrae again. Ah! You're putting me in pain every time you do this. Ah! And now we're on Etheria with She-Ra. Look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know that much of the She-Ra lore. I'm a boy, so I only know He-Man stuff. I mostly know about She-Ra whenever He-Man comes to visit her, or she comes to visit him.
In a deep pool near the old ruins.
Sorry, that was 80s and 90s mentality Tony speaking.
And is guarded by the beast monster.
I thought it was just a legend.
I hate it when characters that surround themselves around magic act like something is a legend. Like, it's so hard for them to believe that a beast monster exists. I think at this point, anything is possible. And She-Ra goes and interrupts a monster's day by beating it, because that's how you solve your problems in the 80s. You just attack them where they live.
I found it.
Now she faces against robots. Well, if they're gonna do a commercial break, I guess we should too.
I've been slimed. No one escapes the evil horde slime pit. Next.
The Evil Horde Slime Pit from the Masters of the Universe. You put it together. Action figures each sold separately from Mattel.
Yes, I will buy that. And no, I will not use the slime because even as a kid, I refused to use slime on my action figures. You know how messy that is? Oh no, now they're put in a bubble.
They're changing into other forms. What evil robots?
Very evil.
Yeah, I guess transforming is evil. That's a weird roast. Is that supposed to be a jab at Transformers because they were popular at the time?
This is bad comedy.
Or do you really think transforming is evil? Because if you think transforming is evil, well, pot meets kettle. How are they gonna get out of this bubble? Oh, you mean by using the thing that She-Ra had in her possession the whole time? Her power sword, where unlike He-Man's sword, her sword can actually transform into things. Because such an evil sword. Animators, you might want to be careful with that skirt shot. Ew! I guess it wasn't all for nothing because Mermista was able to get that crystal that they needed, so Man-at-Arms can use it to track down Orko.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells.
Why did you say it 3 times? It's jingle bells, jingle all the way. This Christmas special is ruining my Christmas. And they got Orko back, but unfortunately he brought the stupid kids with him. And in an asteroid we see the villain of the special.
Great disturbance. A new spirit of goodness.
He's a cloud. Is this Galactus from Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer? Let's watch. And the cloud has mechanical hands.
Send for Skeletor and Hordak.
And a secretary?
May take a few days to recharge the water crystal.
But then we'll miss Christmas.
Well, guess what? Jewish children and poor children miss Christmas every year.
Who's Santa?
Who's Santa? You don't know who Santa is? Everybody knows who Santa is.
Oh, okay, now Orgo's the expert. So, according to this special, Horde Prime is the overarching villain who is actually in charge of Skeletor and Hordak. Just so we're all on the same page here. It's always kind of funny because Skeletor is the memorable villain. He's actually one of my favorite all-time villains, right next to Lord Zed and Shredder. But what's funny about all 3 of them is that they actually do answer to someone else. But when it comes to badass villainy, it's always those 3 who are on top.
Bone Brain! Bone Brain? Why, you miserable excuse for a villain!
Okay, it's kind of weird for them to be insulting each other when they're just standing there in their underwear. It's, I don't know, just...
No sooner said than done!
Die, plants! F your climate, Eternia.
Love and caring, peaceful bliss.
No! Enough with the children singing! Why is that a requisite? Dr. Cinema, it's Christmas. Let me be the bad guy.
Now that's the Christmas spirit.
There they are.
No! Why? Why do you do that, animators? Actually, you know what? There is a bit of a phenomenon out there where sometimes animators will kind of get a little creepy. And as a kid, I wouldn't believe this, but I believe it now. Like, if you look at The Little Mermaid, you look at the castle, the infamous Penis Castle, the phenomenon is that if you work so long for so many hours, your mind kind of drifts. And the only way an artist or animator would stop themselves from going crazy is by drawing crazy things and see how far they can get away with it. And of course it would shoot something.
You won't get away with this. We've got them, Master.
It even has Catra in it, who seems to be a big deal in the new cartoon because she was She-Ra's childhood friend. They don't address that in this cartoon, of course. But it's the 80s. We gotta cram in all the characters we can get. And damn it, Catra, either wear the mask or don't. Don't put it on your forehead. Oh, it's those evil transforming robots again.
What's going on?
Oh, for the love of God. Am I supposed to censor this?
You have 10 seconds to gather your beast companions and depart. What?
Okay, somehow these machines are supposed to be threatening. That's why Hordak is chased off, leaving the prisoners. Like, Hordak is supposed to be an overall ruler of Etheria, right?
I see them. They've been captured by the monstroids.
Again, with a side quest of going to a random side character to ask him where something is. A character that's apparently a Las Vegas attraction.
Who are you?
My name's Cutter. What's yours?
Oh, cool. Lovable characters. That's what this special needs. See, that's Filmation for you. You have the fighters and you have random side lovable characters. And when I say lovable, I mean they're drawn cute. It doesn't mean I think they're lovable. I actually think we could do without them. Just keep Orko.
What?
How much you want to bet they were trying to set up a spin-off?
Japan! There's a monster just around the corner!
Okay, he sounds like Skeletor. That's because when it comes to Filmation, it's like they hire 5 people to do the voices for everyone.
Move away from my friends.
It's He-Man!
Watch out, you evil robots. You're about to face your worst nightmare. A greased-up, muscle-bound, harness-wearing sex gimp.
Keep your claws to yourself.
You already used all your claw puns facing Skeletor's ship. Love the animation, I really do. The lasso goes right through the leg. The leg didn't have to step up one bit.
What works for my sister works for me.
You heard that too, right?
That's a robot death, right? Okay, I think we can count that as murder. Now the real character of the special, Skeletor. He is taking over by taking those kids.
Got you at last, you troublesome tots!
Let him go!
Oh no, Swiftwind is trapped. How is he going to get out of there? You know, aside from flying out. And as they blast each other, Hordak gets the final say by blasting Skeletor and the kids and the dog down to the ground.
We'll have to crash land in that snow!
And this is where we get magical Christmas Skeletor. You'll see.
Oh, blast it!
See, Skeletor's coming round.
Oh, stop licking my face, you dratted dog! Get away from me!
And the dog is getting ready to gnaw at his skeletal face.
Me, get off!
We're going to another commercial.
He-Man! She-Ra!
Meet them all and get a free toy. Now through January 5th, live at Universal.
Ooh, I'll be sure to get my ticket for Universal Studios. Provided that He-Man is played by Noah Centineo. Is there an off button for Addison?
Do you want me to hold him?
No, we'll go faster if I carry him.
I think Skeletor is the Bender of this special.
We have Bender burgers again?
No, the cat shelter's on to me.
Well, it's a wonderful time of the year. Everyone has lots of fun.
You mean they get in fights?
God bless.
And you give each other presents.
And when you open them, they explode, right?
Holy shit, Skeletor.
A snow beast!
Oh my god, it doesn't end with these random creatures. Well, damn, Skeletor, you're pretty powerful. Imagine if you applied that much effort fighting He-Man.
Let him go, Boneface.
Okay, that's not nice, He-Man. If we're going by most stories of Skeletor, his face was burned off in an acid accident. Why would you go and call a burn victim a name like that?
No, I'll take those children.
Hordak!
Now it's a face-off with all of them.
Too late, She-Ra. Horde Prime's got them.
And Horde Prime is gonna get those kids too.
Know what's happening to me? But I must save the children.
And we're gonna see how much power Skeletor has and why it's so frustrating that he never uses it on He-Man. Not that I'm saying I want He-Man to lose. I'm just saying I want He-Man to have a bit of a challenge. And He-Man and She-Ra throws Horde Prime into space. Apparently, Horde Prime is a big deal in She-Ra. He is the true overlord of the Horde Empire. So he is kind of in charge of Hordak. Which I could see why he's in charge of Skeletor as well, because Skeletor used to be Hordak's apprentice.
Christmas only comes once a year.
Thank goodness.
goodness.
So not only they're having a birthday for Adam and Adora, they're also celebrating Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Here, a flying belt for each of you.
And He-Man looks less of Santa and more of a chubby Gandalf.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you.
Happy holidays, you fascists. And the kids have been reunited with their mom and Mario. I guess we have to work harder to get rid of you.
Night, and Merry Christmas.
That's right, Man-at-Arms can spy on those kids anytime he wants.
Merry Christmas.
Santa was He-Man all along. And they broke the fourth wall, and they did not have Castle Grayskull. They didn't even invite Sorceress to the party, even though she technically can't leave Castle Grayskull unless she's in eagle form. But no Sorceress.
So that's how Christmas first came to Eternia.
Why are you telling the story to Orko? The special was surrounding him. So that was another way they were able to get this cartoon series off the ground, was by pitching it that every episode would end with a moral of the story wrap up. I often like to think what would be like if Canon did that with their live action He-Man movie. If they just added a moral of the story at the very end of the film. Just Dolph Lundgren talking. We had fun today, but the moral of the story is, if you don't want to be chased by monsters, don't dress like that, you slut. Until next time. He-Man! And we just witnessed the He-Man and She-Ra A Christmas Special. Well, it was fun celebrating the holidays with you, my Anthonix Maxiteers. Thank you for watching these reviews. As we close out 2022, I look forward to sharing more stories with you in 2023. Santa! Santa Claus! So good to see you, Anthonix, Nicholas, Vincent, Addison, and Dr. Cinema. I have just delivered all the presents.
Santa has more power than even me.
I've been waiting for you. Give me my present. Wait a minute. Wait, you were already here? Santa, you did bring me a present. And he wrapped it in the same wrapping paper that I have. And I see he spelled Tony with an I. Alright, I'm gonna open it. Screw it. Huh. A selfie series. This looks familiar. No, it's me. It's actually my first attempt at making my action figure.
Yeah, Santa got some help from me.
Oh, thanks, Vincent.
The thing you should know about Santa Claus is that his sole purpose on Earth is to judge us. He's neither good nor evil. He takes no sides at Christmas. All he does is reward the good. He is the great equalizer.
I bring all the presents to all the boys and girls, unless you're poor or Jewish or atheist. Don't get me started on those pinko communists.
Okay. He is a bit of a bigot.
Santa Claus is from a different time.
Hundreds of years old and never evolved.
If Santa is there to balance the good and the naughty in the world, he kind of functions just like Zodak from Masters of the Universe. If it helps. So Santa, for the present you gave me, what do you desire? I desire milk and cookies. Of course, Santa. I have it right here waiting for you. Want some milk? You don't have milk and cookies?
Oh, no.
One thing I ask for? I should have gotten more cookies and milk. I'm so sorry. It's time to punish you all!
Until next year.
Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
I'll see you later, Anthonix and Vincent.
To hell with holidays. I'm out of here. Well, boys, I'm off like a prom dress. So, Merry Christmas. And nothing else.
Doc, Addison, I'll see you in hell.
Thank you for watching this year, and I hope to see you again next year. I am going to soften my pain with candy.
Listen, I am not nice, I am not kind, and I am not wonderful.